The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said the harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I said you're up and I'm up. Y'all now tuned in to the Grind Hard Dream Big Show. The harder you grind, the bigger you dream. I got a special guest in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, man.
Yeah, so my name Jaden. Senior, 17 years old. You feel me? Just going into the faith of God and everything. Figuring out life, and we trying, speak about certain things that's going on in life.
For sure, man. Look, the sun is shining outside, and so should you, man. So, like, how you feel today, man? On a scale from 1 to 10, man. How you feel?
Man, I'm feeling a 10. Feeling a 10 for sure.
That's how vice versa. I say definitely like a 10 as well for myself, man. It was a good, productive week and all that, so I could definitely say a 10. So, for the people that don't know, like, where were you, like, born and raised, like, your upbringing, your come up?
So I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We lived down there for like 4 years. That's really where all my family at, honestly. But I ended up growing up here in Maryland. You know what I'm saying? We lived in an apartment, Silver Spring. Then we came down to Bowie, and that's just how it went. Family was always tight. We always would go back to family in Pittsburgh, so it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, we was deserted by ourselves. And we also got family down here. So we definitely got some close family members. I'll say growing up, it wasn't like a hard thing, but it was just like not like a transparency to it. It was like more like family. When we had problems, we would kind of keep it to ourselves a little bit. So it kind of kept a little bit distance between us. But recently, it's been going pretty well, honestly.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because, like I said, like, transparency, that's a big thing right now. Like, I could definitely say, like, me even coming up, being in Hyattsville, Maryland, and then moving to Glen Island, just seeing that family dynamic as well, and understanding that, of course, transparency, it was rare. Of course, you had your own problems. You deal with them, you figure it out, however you figure it out.
Yeah.
So, I guess, as you transition, into, like, school and everything like that, how did that kind of like play a factor for you, and like what was your approach as a young youth into school and stuff?
So I'll say like my whole middle school year, it started out like like any middle school would. You find new friends, you stick with them. You know what I'm saying? Going all the way from 6th to 8th grade, it was pretty much the same group throughout the whole entire years, and it was like we was just having fun. COVID hit in 8th grade, in the middle of 8th grade, so we actually didn't even have that full 8th grade year. Like even now to this day, we like always look back and we're like, dang, bro, like 8th grade was sweet. Like we kind of wish like we would have finished that whole year out, but we didn't. So after that COVID hit, didn't even go to 9th grade year, so it was like that whole COVID time, it was like everybody was separated. We didn't have nowhere to like go to like hang out, no nothing. We always had to stay in the house. Life was honestly like pretty hard for me just growing up, like mentally. It wasn't even like a physical thing. It was more of a mental battle for me, trying to wake up, stay on Zoom, focus, and pay attention to school. My grades did decline a little bit being online, because like I felt like I needed that talking to people. I feel like I'm a person who talks, so when it came to school, I needed that openness. I needed those friends, but since I didn't have it at home, I was really like kind of like down in the dumps. You know what I'm saying? I played a game, but that was like kind of the only escape I had. 9th grade year, that was just like the whole COVID thing. 10th grade year was when we go back into school, and like I feel like a lot of us who did miss that 9th grade year, we didn't know how it would be stepping into high school. Like for my school, it's 2 buildings, so like the 9th grade building is completely separate from the 10th grade building, but we didn't go to that 9th grade building, so we actually went straight into that 10th grade building with everybody else, so 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade at the same time. So it was like we were stepping into high school without even like an introduction for like how others would get, and it really it was honestly like pretty different because it was like these people are like grown. Well, in my sense, like I'm a senior now, but like looking back on it, I was like, yo, like they look way older than me, bro. Like I'm already hanging with these people, and it's like I didn't know how to take it, so I just started hanging around like the wrong groups and stuff like that, because they was older, so they kind of knew what they was doing, but like I didn't know. I was just following the crowd, and it kind of ruined my start of my year.
9th grade building, 10th grade building, and I guess now you saying hanging around like wrong people.
Yeah.
So like, how was that for you, or you were saying like you was just following the crowd?
For me, it was like it was the new norm. Like looking at it from the outside in, that's crazy.
Right.
But like being in there, I'm like, this the normal, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got people in the bathrooms smoking on like the little dab pens. You got you know, outside of the school where you could smoke. Then you just got like, I wouldn't say like gangs, but I'd say like cliques. You know what I'm saying? You always got those groups that try to be hard in school, and I was like into that group, but I wasn't fully in that group. So it was like I was trying to make these things that weren't normal, and it was messing up how I perceived the world to be, how I, you know, felt like I was gonna end up coming up, just all these things. And honestly, even hanging out with them, I started smoking. And when I started smoking, that's when it like really got me, because it was like when I started smoking, I was like quiet more. Like I was myself. Cause like I've always been quiet, but like I was always able to talk to people. But when I started smoking, that's when like I started to just be more quiet, less talkative, more anxious, anxiety. You know, when I started to like speak to people, whenever they would like call something out on me, I would be like in my head thinking about it, overthinking. So it was like all these different bad things that was just going on in my mind. Like, how am I going to get through high school? That's where it was. How was I going to get through? And later on, like situations came up where I would be going outside of school with these people. Like before, it was only in school, but now I was going from outside of school to in the world. So it's like every time I leave the house, I'm hanging with the wrong group of people. And that's what bothered me the most. That's what.
Yeah, nah, I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know, to be transparent, is like I feel like high school is like, for me personally, I think that high school is how you like deal with corporate America. You got the people that's gonna be in their bag, in their zone, like in their classes. You know what I'm saying, doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
And then you may have that group that just may not be like, all right, bet, bump class. I don't even want to go for real. I'm just outside just to be outside,
Yeah.
right? So. How you were able to navigate and pivot through that, you know, like I said, because I know I struggle with that too. You know, finding who was for who, or hey yo, like I'm gonna run with these people, I'm gonna run with these people, or this, that, and the third. Because I think that, you know, we're so busy trying to fit in when we're born to stand out, right?
Facts.
To separate ourselves.
Facts.
So I think that, you know, it's interesting that you said that, because, you know, being transparent, that's how I was in high school too. I would sit there and I have my groups of friends, but it's like, oh yeah, man, like, oh yeah, they popular, I want to be popular too.
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
yo, that's
real.
the cool thing, and
That's-
I want to go ahead and do that too. But then it's like, nah, bro, like just go ahead and be yourself, and them
Facts.
people that respect you for who you are
Yeah, they're gonna stick
will
with you.
stick with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was learning and navigating through as well. So as you're pivoting through that and you're realizing, all right, bet I'm hanging around these wrong people, you're probably like, man, I'm wasting time. Like this ain't really productive. I don't even know what I was on for real.
Yeah,
and influence. Can you speak to influence and what you're seeing now, and how people are being influenced by, like you said, their peers, or maybe social media, or whatever that is? Like, what does that really look like? Because I think sometimes we may not be able to grasp that, you know, as older people, or just see it on the outside looking in.
So I'll say it start all from your friends. You know, the friends I had in middle school is who I stayed with coming into high school. So since I stayed with them, I was always, you know what I'm saying, I'm thinking like whatever they do is cool, because that's my homie, bro. Like we chilling. But the influence really came from social media, from just people posting certain things, and you would see like they would get like a bunch of likes. They would get like maybe like 1K comments on there too. So it was like you look at these and you're like, bro, I gotta post a picture like this. I'm trying to get this, cause then if you get the Instagram views, the Instagram likes, the comments, you get the girls, and that's how we was moving. We was like, bro, we trying to get the girls, bro. We trying to do this, do that, and I feel like it all comes down as a boy. It comes down to trying to get the girls when we go with like social media and things like that. Then I would say the other influences could be like the music we listen to. The music we listen to really plays a part. Starting out, like, you could go into high school as one of the nicest people. You start listening to trap music, you start to change, you start to feel that into your mind. So it's like, it's really taking over what your thought process is, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, for like the adults to see it, like, it's really hard to help. Like, I feel like it's so hard to help, because even for me, like, I'm looking at it like, bro, I'm not being productive or nothing like that. I think the only thing a adult for me could do was like motivate me, like tell me just something simple that could like change my life. No, don't tell me like stop doing the things I'm doing, but give me something that will, like, if I want to really do this and pursue this, I'll start to leave these old things that weren't helping me behind.
No, for sure, I agree. Like, and that's the whole notion, like, being who I needed when I was younger. Because I ain't gonna lie, like, I ain't really have everything, the how-to on how to do something. So it's like, I'm just figuring it out.
Facts.
But then once I started, like, putting time to, crafting or whatever it is I was passionate about, then I realized, okay, I'm smiling more. It's more exciting.
Yeah.
I feel more fulfilled, like you say, at times, like you feel more full.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what you're doing and how you're, walking, talking, or just navigating and going through these obstacles and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I definitely agree with that 100%. So, I know that we talked about purpose before. So what do you feel like it is for you now, and just having this whole change of direction? Where was that pivotal moment where you're like, all right, well, I notice my peers, I notice my friends, these are still human beings. I understand that we all make mistakes and things like that, but when did you start pivoting and realizing, all right, well, moving with a sense of urgency, I have to do this, like, ASAP?
I'll say it was around last year. I actually, this like literally like today, a year ago. Like,
wow.
Me and my friend was hanging out, and he was always like pretty inspirational when it came to things. Like, he had left, came back to our school, and when we seen him, we like, yo, we gotta connect, bro. And the way he was talking like a young man. Like, we all looking at him like he like our older brother at this point. So it's like, when he had said something, it had clicked. It was like, he said something about us young men not doing what we're supposed to do, and we're kind of like feeding this persona for, because being young and black, the fear of a cop coming to kill you because of what you're doing, or arresting you or anything like that, was always on our minds and on our hearts. So when he had said something about it, it just clicked, because it was like, me myself, I don't want to be put into that category where, like, I don't want to be seen in a certain way where, like, people could like put me in a box. I don't want to be in a box. So after that click, I was like, bro, I gotta put the weed down. I gotta stop smoking. I gotta start working out more. I gotta get into the books. Gotta make sure my grades is right. And I couldn't even say why, like, it just clicked like that. It literally just was like a snap, and I was like, yo, let me really work. Let me turn up. So I started to change. I could see how my peers were still like dragging behind, and I wanted to influence them, but I didn't know how. Over time, I influenced them through the change. I influenced them without even saying words. I influenced them by, you know what I'm saying, working and doing what I was supposed to do, what I was actually meant to do, not what I was, you know, just normalizing, which wasn't even normal at all. And after that, it was a separation too. It was separating from my friends, changing who I hang around, because I realized like the people you hang around is what makes you. So if you're hanging around them 24/7, you're gonna think like them. You're gonna start to be like them. And I didn't want it to be like that. So I ended up like trying to find new friends in school who weren't skipping class, who were actually trying to, you know, maybe not be fully into the books, but at least be inside the school. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it all started to pivot and change.
Nah, for sure. Nah, man, look, I'm gonna clap that joint up. I ain't gonna hold you, cause like that's definitely major. Like you just sat there and said, like, cause I know it's certain things that I'd be like, all right, bro, like you need to max out to your potential, but you ain't gonna get there unless you really like see it for yourself. And it's like, yo, I'm gonna say no to this. I'm gonna say no to that, and you know, I'm gonna start doing this now as opposed to doing that. Like, you know, I'm gonna actually, you know, work hard. Cause like I said, for me, I wasn't the brightest. I wasn't the A/B student all the time, right? But it's like, yo, I knew right from wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so it's like, because I know right from wrong, I know this is right, this is wrong, and this is what's being presented to me. So navigating through that, like you was just sitting there saying, like, with music, social media, and all these things, man, like, it's so many factors now that come into play when it comes to, you know, either academic success, personal development, personal success, spiritual success, emotional, and you know, mental and physical as well, like I said before. So now transitioning and realizing that you didn't even, you know, do this by, you know, words, you just did this by actions. That first encounter, you know, spiritually, because I know that we talk, you know, about spirituality, we talk about faith. That first encounter where you can be like, all right, well, I know of God, but God is real. Like, what was that like for you?
It was a whole testimony that's like really hard to put into words, but I'll try to like sum it up. So it was like a day where I had work, and this is like when I cut out the weed for like maybe like 2 months. Mind you, it's like November right now, so basically the first time I had started smoking again was January 1st, when, you know what I'm saying, you got that you got the New Year's party, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just picked back up on smoking that same day. It took over again. I started to smoke again. I was still on the grind, but it was like I could see what the weed was doing. I already knew what the weed was doing in those 2 months, because I'm like, bro, I'm doing way more. What's going on? Was it the weed? Was it this? And I realized after I went back to it, like, it is the weed, but I didn't know how to stop. So coming off of work on like a Sunday, I want to say, one of my coworkers had asked if we wanted to smoke. So I remember getting so paranoid to the point where like I had shallow breath, because I actually have asthma. So it's like,
wow,
why am I smoking in the first place?
Wow.
But I had like a little bit of shallow breath. My mom's looking at me and she's like, she just like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? She ended up having to call the paramedics. They came and took me to the hospital. And mind you, like, I feel like I'm in my right mind. Like, I remember the whole situation so clearly, clear as day. But I can't see it how my family seen it. They seen it like something was really wrong. Like, it's a big thing going on. So I want to like fast forward maybe like 2 weeks or so, because in between that time, God was changing me. Like, just thinking about, because mind you, they had to stick a needle in me, take out the you know, basically the weed, take out the weed out of my system. And like, just thinking about, was I ready to, like, because like it's going through my head, maybe I wouldn't have passed away at that moment, but like, was I even ready to like pass away at that very moment with my mom on the side? Like,
right.
How do I even think, like, my mom losing her child? So it really put me in shock. And, you know, God really started to speak to me that, like, weed was not for me. You know, a lot of people say that weed isn't for everybody, and they be like, oh yeah, but it's for me. But I personally could say that it's really not for anybody. You know, well, at least for the people who don't have that medical, you know, certification or something like that. But when you're just using it to use it, you're not using it for the right reasons. You're using it to cope with something. You're using it to deal with some type of pain. And we don't realize that this pain could be from when we were children. But now we're so addicted, we don't even realize it. So now we're just like, I just smoke to smoke. I smoke to get high. That's what I like to do. But you really don't know that it's something more than just smoking. Like, it's actually like, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole mental battle. So then after that, things really started to change. Like, I really didn't want to go back after that, because God had really like spoke to me, and I felt his grace after that moment. I felt his grace and mercy. And the one time I went back, after knowing God's grace and his presence and all that, and I think I only smoked the J like 2-3 times, I felt so condemned. I felt like I was gonna go to hell for smoking. I felt like I didn't have that joy. I didn't have that love, that peace, that presence that I was walking in, that God had gave me for free. Like, I didn't even know that Jesus Christ had died for my sins at this time. Like, you know what I'm saying? God had just given it to me because he had some type of calling on my life. And man, I got down on my knees and I just prayed to God. I was like, God, I want that presence. I need that presence. That's what I need in my life. So after that, that's when I just took off completely.
No, for sure. And I want to say salute to you for that, because like I said, there's moments in our lives where we feel like, all right, bro, like this burden weighs too heavy, and it's like, I gotta tag you in because I don't want to carry this no more. I don't want to do this anymore. And like I said, I know for me, like I said, you know, coming up, rapping, everything like that, like, it's a lot of, you know, pride, ego. People will be like, yeah, bro, like, Jay, you fired, Jay, you this, that, and the third. And it's like, I appreciate all of that, but I realized things were moving faster, and I'm being unintentional. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that God is telling me to, you know, of course, like, yo, you know, you got a voice, and it's like, okay, but your voice isn't meant to be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, those little things is like, all right, man, you know what I'm saying? You can do those things, but then at the same time, it's just like, be aware of your surroundings. And it's like, bro, why you rapping here? Whoa, wait, what? You're doing this here? Like, what you doing here? But, you know, I think that for me, it was just understanding to move with intention. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people don't do that. Some people just get caught up, and you're just like, okay, but I'm running. Right. And sometimes I felt like I was on the hamster wheel, just going in the same place over and over and over again, and I'm tired. So for you to realize like what that struggle was for you, and to be like, yo, I'm willing to fix that, I'm willing to change that, that's definitely dope. So what is the misconception now that people aren't understanding? I mean, we see there's a lot of chaos going on in the world. We see a lot of division and things of that nature, but what is really some of the root, you know, the root of the problem, I guess, from your eyes and what you see, and how disconnected we are? Do we think it's completely far off, or it's like, you know, it's getting better? What do you think?
It's hard to say if it's like completely far off, because it's hard to know where like everybody's mind is at. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I have seen, you know, looking at things, was that people have a heart for God. People have that strive to want to, you know, have that love, that unconditional love, that's better than your own mother's love. And if not your mother, your father, if not them, your friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, that love is what people strive for in many different things and ways, and we look towards like worldly things, like attention, woman, cars, riches. You know what I'm saying? None of these things are fulfilling. Like I had told you on the phone, like fulfillment is what we should be searching for. So it's like, if I have to do this every single day, am I really being fulfilled? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be just weed. It can be social media. If I have to get on social media every time I'm waiting in a grocery store line, and I have to instantly pick up my phone because I'm so bored, or my mind is just, it has so much going on that it's like I can't just sit and be where I am at this moment and just look around and enjoy it. There's something like mentally going on.
Right.
I feel that it's possible for us to change. I feel like there is change going on, but it starts with the people who are called, like, who are the light. Who, if you're not spreading that light to others, then what are you doing with it? You're being selfish. You're not helping everybody. You know what I'm saying? You're not helping God. You're using what God has given you for yourself to keep it for yourself. And I feel like we should be spreading that out to the world. Because I realize, like, I'm smiling more. I'm being more in tune with people. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to actually, like, care for people. Like, even my teachers, I pay attention to them as people. Like, I try to take away, yeah, she's my teacher. She's supposed to help me out. But it's like the other day when I had told you, like, my teacher was venting for real. And I realized that, like, and I didn't want to be like, yo, she's talking too much. Like, I don't want to hear her talk about her problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has their problems, and
right.
some teachers don't even have somebody to go home to. So it's like the kids at the school are the only people that they really interact with throughout their whole entire day. And I feel like those connections with other people is what brings life to the world. What takes out this darkness that we're all walking in.
Now, for sure, like the darkness, like I said, like the wilderness doesn't last forever because joy lies ahead. And I'm a big, firm believer that it's been times where you'll feel like, okay, bet I'm astray, I'm alone, and you know what I'm saying, ain't nobody else on this joint with me. But it's like, nah, like, little do you know, people are still in the same exact joint. Like, they realize how it is, and it's like you have to really be intentional and not try to be distracted. I think, for me personally, it's like distractions are always going to come and go. So sometimes it's like you got to shut down and be like, all right, bet, like, I do feel like doing this today, but nah, I can't. Or like, okay, bet, I don't have the mental capacity to entertain this conversation or entertain this thing right here. So nah, I'm not going to sit there and do that. So I think that, sometimes when we're getting our blessings, we have to limit our distractions as well, because like I said, anything could come and distract us. Okay. For me, I know personally sometimes it's be like, oh yeah, bet. Well, if you're finding your purpose and stuff like that, you always want to make sure that, you're pouring from a cup that you can still pour from. You don't want to sit there and have an empty cup and still try to pour everywhere.
You're like,
you sit there and be like, bro, where you pouring?
It's
like, bro, I'm empty. Like, now I'm showing up to places and I'm mentally there but physically can't move. Or I'm physically here but not mentally there. And it's like, nah, you want to be at your best because people will treat you different when you're at your best. You know what I'm saying? And they can recognize that and see that as well. So I guess being in your word, right? I think that's very, very important. I know we've talked about that before. Being in your word is one thing, right? Mm-hmm. But applying it is another thing. What is the misconception? Because I ain't gonna lie, I struggle with this. I ain't gonna lie, I struggle with it. Because I can easily read something, but then of course applying it can look different. So how has that been for you? And what would your advice be to someone that's never gotten into, the word or just like that connection? Because I know, like I said, people can meet God in different ways and see him for who he is in different ways. But what would your advice be to somebody that's like, all right, but I never picked up the Bible before, and I want to start?
I would say start with the gospel. You know what I'm saying? It really shows God's love. You know what I'm saying? Jesus is the representation. So it's like I'm not gonna say like some of the things in the Old Testament, some people can't find crazy, but when you go to who this whole Bible is represented about, is when you really understand like what's going on. You really understand like, yo, what Jesus was talking about 2,000 years ago is going on now today. It's like that's like he's literally speaking in the future. Like he's speaking about the future. So it's like get into the gospel. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna understand everything. When I first had picked up Matthew, I didn't know nothing that was going on. I didn't even like sometimes I would read and I would be like, what are they talking about? But it was trying to stay consistent all the way to the end, to just let God speak to me. Because the word is God. That's in John. The word was in the beginning and God was the word. So it's like Jesus is that living word. That living word means that like that application. Like something can't be living if water isn't being poured onto it, because the water is being applied to it. So you know what I'm saying? Think about what Jesus did for us, and if it were real, because I believe it's real, I know it's real, Jason believes it's real,
Yeah.
He knows it's real,
Right.
so it's like letting your mind just think like, dang, what if that really did happen? What if I was to be judged for what I did unknowingly? Because it's not to say like we're sinners and we do it all on purpose. It happens accidentally. It's like that's our nature. That's how we were born. But it's like to think that there's something eternally after this world, this wicked world that, you know, that's still unfulfilling. It's like I want to have at least a taste of that.
Yeah.
And speaking on how Jesus said to pray, at that, I think in the middle of it, it says, "Let your will be done in earth." Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think that, you know, like I said, the for me personally, because I know, you know, I'm heavy in prayer. That's how I start my day, and everything. And what I realize is like the more you talk to God, the more he'll realize, it's like, bro, I see you, right? So
Yeah.
like I know for me, transparent, like just being transparent, I used to just sit there, wake up in the morning, pray in the morning, not even talk in the afternoon,
mm-hmm.
or like throughout my day,
Yeah.
pray at night.
Yeah.
But then I realized like something had to shift.
Yeah.
And then I realized like the more that you invite him in your day, like, oh yeah, God, what do you think? Oh God, what are we doing? Know what I'm saying? Now it's like, oh, all right, bet now, oh yeah, now you mentioned to me, so now it's like, all right, bet I'm gonna help you. Know what I'm saying? I'm because you prioritizing him,
right?
And like I said, he loves that. So because of that, then I realized it's different ways that people can move and generate, you know, their thoughts, their ideas, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I realized for myself, as well, just being open. And realizing your faith,
right?
And realizing, you know, you pray in certain things. You got to work towards those things too, because you know, of course, you know, faith without works is dead.
Right.
From what you know, a lot of people have also said as well. Mm-hmm. So it's just like I think for me, it's understanding the notion of serving, because like I said, like Rome wasn't built in a day. Facts. You know, you may want to sit there and be like, all right, bet I want to be at the top, but you know what I'm saying, you got to appreciate the bottom, get to the middle, and then eventually be at the top. And then realize, like, being obedient and sacrificing. And being obedient is more so like, okay, what is it that God thinks? What is it God will want you to do? And like you just sat there and said as well, like, yes, we are human. So when we have these worldly desires, these fleshly desires, and we make these mistakes, it's not the do all end all. It's just to letting you know that, yo,
you're not perfect.
You're not perfect, right. And you don't have to be perfect to be amazing. And I think that sometimes people look at it like, okay, well, man, you know what I'm saying, you X, Y, and Z, or how could you? And it's like, you sin, I sin, but my sin is not going to outweigh yours, because sin is sin. Sin is sin. Wrong is wrong, right is right. Facts, like, yo, you feel what I'm saying? But I think that the connotation is more so like, okay, oh my gosh, you can do no wrong, you know? Right. But I think that sometimes the pressure is, oh yeah, you know, leading by example, right? And I know for me, like, that's something that I embrace. Some people be like, yeah, bro, you're a leader, or yeah, you're this. And I'm just like, look, I leave it up to y'all, because, like, whatever y'all think, is fine, but at the end of the day, it's like having that validation and that step from God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's important for me,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm learning now. Because it's like, bro, I don't want to get too caught up, never be too high, never be too low, because I'm right there where God
Right
want
where
me
you
to
need to be.
be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right where He
facts.
want me to be.
Facts.
So I think that's a big thing as well, and I think transparency and vulnerability is missing. So I know we had talked about a lot. What are some tools that you would give that person?
Hold on a second. Repeat that question one more time, Jay.
Oh, what are some tools that you would give that person or that youth that's watching this how to navigate life?
I'm gonna keep it on a spiritual thing. Prayer, because even if we don't know who God is, even if you've never heard of God, just having that mind to think like, if there's somebody out there that's listening to me and that understands me more than I understand myself, I feel like that those prayers are going to be answered for you. They won't be answered how you want them to be answered. They may possibly be that way, but it's more so about just that change. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you add the King of the Universe into your life, it really helps out. And if you don't want to take that step, I would say at least try to back away from social media for a little bit. Take a break. You know what I'm saying? Really just take in the world. See it for what it is, instead of like looking at somebody else's life who is across the world that may be living better than you or worse than you. And instead looking at where you're at right now, and are you comfortable with where you're at? Do you enjoy where you're at? If not, that's how you know something has to change. You don't know where to start. Nobody really knows where to start, but it's that first step right there that's like, dang, I don't like how I'm living. I want to change something. Let me figure that out.
Now, for sure, like, I know for myself, it's like, you know, I'm the type, I beat myself up. I make a mistake, oh my gosh, how could I?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did I, right? But then it's like, yo, don't dwell on the mistake so much that you don't want to move forward. I think that's my big takeaway, because it's like sometimes when you fall, it's like, yo, you're bound to get back up, continue to walk and continue to realize what your assignment is. Like, these distractions and things like that will come, and they will probably, you know, beat you up, but you can't dwell in it so much that you're paralyzed to move forward. Still be able to move forward.
And I don't even remember like the specific verse, but it says a righteous man will fall down 7 times but get back up 8. So it's like, we're all gonna fall down. You know what I'm saying? The righteous is those who are good. So it's like, even though you're doing what is right, you're still gonna fall. But it's about you getting back up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like, you know, for me, like, I know Proverbs has been one of, you know, Proverbs is the book of wisdom.
That's what
I'm saying.
I'm reading.
Proverbs is the book of wisdom. So, you know, that verse, you know, chapter 3, verse 5 and 6, of course, you know, lean not to your own understanding, instead seek God and acknowledge it, because He'll straighten out the path.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's very, very important. And I know, like, a lot of people, you know, may have like favorite verses and things like that, but I know, like, me personally, I always think of Deuteronomy chapter 8 and how they were in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, the 40 days, the 40 nights, everything the Israelites, like, stewarding everything that was given to you. Because the thing about it is, once you get there to that place that you prayed about so much, now all of a sudden, like, still remember that God exists. Like, realize that He's still here, because everything that He installed and gave you is like, yo, I gave you this, I gave you that. You said you were hungry, gave you food. You said you were, you know, thirsty, I gave you water. You said you needed this. You know what I'm saying? He got you from A, B to Z, A, B, C to D, and all that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even though He took you there, don't forget who got you there. You know what I'm saying? And I think that for us, we have to realize, like, it's about being selfless instead of selfish.
And just knowing that there's more to the story. Like, even though you got to where you wanted to go, where did God want you to go? God got something way bigger for all of us. So it's like, don't just stop at your desires and be like, all right, God, I'm done. I don't feel like doing nothing else. You gave me what I wanted. But it's like, what else do you got for me? how can we grow even more? How can we use what you gave me to give back to others?
Right. And that's the thing too. That's what I'm learning too. Cause like, this ain't about this platform ain't about me. It's just literally being able to help other people. Cause literally it's like joy and pride, like joy in helping serve others and being who I needed when I was younger. But most importantly, being who God called me to be. If that's that light where it's dark all the time, still be that light. Still step into your assignment. And I feel like like this ain't a hobby. This is an assignment. Like, so stay on your assignment regardless.
I think you told me that. I think you were the one who said that. That is either somebody has said it though. It's like it's a hobby now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but even then, it's like it's still an assignment.
It's an assignment, yeah. It's not a hobby because your assignment, that's what's keeping you up at night. That's what's like, that's what you're constantly thinking about. So it's like, it's your assignment, and he's already equipped you to do the assignment. So it's just like, bro, like, you may not have the tools, you may not have everything you need, but still find a way to get the assignment done. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I treat it. Bet. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm gonna treat it, man. It's a lot of gems, man. Like, I hope that y'all took a lot of gems away from this because, like I said, once again, it's transparency. As we can see, the generational gaps, things of that nature, and all these problems. But we're on the solution side over here. And, like I said, is there anything else you would like to tell people before we wrap this up?
I would say if you are struggling with applying a word, meditate on it. That's one thing that God told us to do. And meditating on it really puts it into your heart. And then you start to, like, when certain situations come up, you start to just, it just comes to your head. So it's like, doing that really helps. And always reach out to somebody. Try to connect with your friends or anything. Just speak to anybody about any problems that you're having, because it can be a battle, even for the people who think that they're all big and bold and they can do anything. Like, it's a battle for everybody, big and small.
Nah, for sure. I would just say that the next time you look down on someone, only time you're looking down on someone is when you should be helping them up. So, like, I feel like that's the thing. Like, we always look down on people all the time, but we gotta help them up. We gotta be that extended hand, and we gotta realize, like, meeting people where they are and taking them where they deserve. So, like, even the littlest things, like complimenting somebody, telling somebody good morning, or hey, I see you, I'm rooting for you, or have a great day on purpose, little things like that, because it's the small things that are definitely either make or break somebody's day. So be the reason why somebody smiles, and treat others how you want to be treated. So think of yourself the next time you have an interaction with someone and what you would want, on that receiving end or that giving end. So that's what I would say.
Love your neighbor as much as you love yourself.
Nah, for sure.
You can't love your neighbor if you don't love yourself.
Nah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact, man. So, like I said, I appreciate y'all so much, man. Like, once again, how can people tap in with you? How can people support you, man, and what you got going on?
Right now, I would just say check out my YouTube channel. I don't know, I'll ask him to put it up, because I literally just started it yesterday.
Congrats to that, man.
First video went out, so it might be hard to search it up and, like, come up right away. But we just starting out a channel just to have that safe space for people to just, see what's going on in my life, and also me being able to be transparent with people when things go wrong or when they go good.
No, for sure. And I also want to salute the young king as well, because he took a leap of faith and being baptized, bro. So I want to say congrats to that, man. Because, like I said, that's major. And just being able to solidify your faith and solidify, your walk with God and your work for God. So I just want to say, salute to you, and I know that you're gonna do amazing things, and God is gonna continue to wear him out for all of us, bro. Cause like that's what he does, man. So I just want to say congrats on that, man.
Thank you.
You already know, man. Look, if y'all like what y'all seen, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Sure.
The harder you grind, the bigger you dream, cause that's what we doing. Inspire before you expire, and you already know. I set you up, and I'm up. You already know what it is. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
For sure, man. I appreciate you, bro.
For sure, bro.
All love,
That's tough.
All love.